Juventus is absolutely not listening. Juventus has one name, Juventus has one target, and the target, the name is Jadon Sancho. And this could be the week where it becomes a done deal. The Englishman dressing bianconero 365 days after it actually collapsed because he went on loan to Chelsea. Well, Jadon could become a bianconero, dressing the black and white colors of Juventus Football Club. This and much more, like for example, a new name for the midfield, a beautiful opportunity according to some, and then the story about Dusan Vlahovic, because there are two clubs interested in the Serbian player. We'll speak about that and much more in today's video. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. If last week was the first week of Calcio Mercato and we announced Jonathan David, that second week can be fired, not only in entry, because we are speaking about Jadon Sancho, but also exit. So pay attention. If you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Also on Monday, interact, because we start opening Corriere dello Sport and we'll not speak about Max Allegri. That is back. Ci sei mancato. We missed you. Zazzaroni, we know it, a huge big friend of Max Allegri. Are you missing Max Allegri? Did you miss Max Allegri? Let me know in comment section. But anyway, we put it aside and we go immediately to that low block here. Sprint Juve, Sancho e I tagli. Sprint Juve, I don't need to translate it, Jadon Sancho. And the cuts, because of course they are mentioning some players that needs to leave, like Nico Gonzalez, like Dusan Vlahovic, Douglas Luiz, but also Lloyd Kelly already after not even 6 months as a bianconero. If you are focusing only on Jadon Sancho, well, decisive hours from Tutto Sport. Sancho Juve never as close as that. And if we know that last summer he was that close as we reported here on the channel day by day, well, he's even closer than that. Why? Because listening to the other journalists like Nico Schira, for example, he's saying Jadon Sancho is getting extremely close to Juve from Manchester United. Positive talks and expected a direct negotiation already this week to try to reach the deal. And he asked Juve to accelerate. This is what Alfredo Pedula is telling us. Yes, there were contents. Yes, they want Juve, or at least Sancho wants Juve and he wants to accelerate things. That's why Corriere dello Sport also went with the word sprint Juve. There is an agreement in principle already for the price tag, for the value around 25 million euro from Manchester United. They are just speaking about the last few details about the salary, something that we already reported in the last few days, so I will not come too much on that. But looks like Alfredo Pedula is convinced, Nico Schira is convinced, Tutto Sport is convinced, even Michele De Blasis, Mirko Di Natale, they are all going towards one direction. Romeo Agresti, Michele De Blasis said that yes, 25 million euro is what Juventus could pay to Manchester United, 6 million more or less, plus bonus for the English striker. Jadon Sancho to Juve, this could be the week. And I told you, in the idea of Juve, it is not Sancho or Chico Conceição, it is trying to do both of them. Will they succeed? Well, they start already with Sancho, the easiest one, because then they will be stronger to also negotiate with Porto to decrease the demands from the Portuguese club. That's why they go for Sancho now. Also because Sancho asked, Juve, I'm ready. I don't care about the other clubs. I give you my priority. I want to start again my career far away from the Premier League where I didn't do well. I know that when I was playing well, when I was reaching my potential, it was away from England, like when I was at Dortmund, where I did extremely well, where people were loving me. Well, I want to receive that love from you, from the old lady. And that's why Juventus want to go, because of course, if you don't go fast, of course, he will open again new doors, because his intention is to be ready, to be super ready for match day one. Not doing like last year, where for an entire summer he was out of the team before being reintegrated. And actually we saw it in the first games of Manchester United last summer, where he was really a bit in difficulty because he was not, in terms of pace, in terms of shape, ready. And that's what he wants really to avoid. Tuttosport is already telling us that possible attack of Juve for next year. They are giving us different options, like for example a Jonathan David up front with a Yildiz on the left and a Koopmeiners on the right behind the striker, or Yildiz and Jonathan David behind Osimhen, and we'll come back on Osimhen in a second. And then they're telling us Jonathan David can play as a number 9 with behind him Kenan Yildiz and Sancho. So they are really pushing. Sancho could really be one of the players that can play behind our striker. A bit on number 9, a bit on number 10. David is actually double player. This is the title. You see it clearly that they also mentioned Osimhen. And if we go towards Gazzetta dello Sport, well, looks like the two papers, they agree on something. Juventus, they didn't give up on the Nigerian player at the moment. They really want to try to go and to understand if yes or no they can actually go and sign him, if they can find the real formula with Napoli. If not, well, they don't give up on Colomoni. They're still opening the talks with Paris Saint-Germain. So it's one or the other. According to me, forget about both of them plus Jonathan David. This is something that I will repeat. I tell you, in terms of player Osimhen, in terms of what we need to do to fulfill the team, because that's what we need to do, then go for Colomoni. Colomoni that also can play the double role like Jonathan David. They can alternate in some games, but also during the games. And then Dusan Vlahovic. That's the topic that we need to speak about now before going towards midfield and also the name for the defense. Well, Vlahovic, this will be also for him the week of truth. Al Hilal is not giving up on Osimhen, but if Osimhen is not going okay, they also already started opening again the talks with the Serbian player, like reported by L'Equipe. Entre Osimhen et Vlahovic, Al Hilal cherche toujours son attaquant. Between Osimhen and Dusan Vlahovic, Al Hilal is still looking for their striker. We know it, absolutely no problem to pay the 20-25 million requested by Juve for Dusan, and also the salary is absolutely not a problem. He can even go towards doubling what he's earning now net at Juve, and this is possibly a thing that could satisfy the agent. Will it satisfy the player? That's the question mark. A player that refused already Turkey. He refused Fenerbahce. It's not the destination that he wants to go now at 25, but he could possibly go there. Well, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, they are not sure about the Al Hilal track. They say that he wants to stay in Italy. Vlahovic, si a Max. Vlahovic, yes to Max Allegri. And if you're looking at that double page where they're saying Vlahovic is calling the Red Devils Milan, he would even stay until the end of the season at Juve to actually free himself for zero. A lot of people are talking about already Inter as a snake that is there ready to take him for free next summer. At the moment, it's not confirmed, even if with the Nerazzurri, I would not be surprised. This is something that they already did, for example, for players like Paulo Dybala, for other players, we know it, and they were about to do the same strategy with Federico Chiesa. I would not be surprised, but at the moment, it's really Milan that is on the player. Of course, they cannot pay the entirety of the salary, and that's why Juventus could possibly intervene there to actually give a support for at least 1 year to actually make it easier for him to be covered in his salary that first year before going to Milan. But that's something that we need to keep in mind. Milan, yes, from Vlahovic, if they are able to find something, because he would love to stay in Italy more than going to Saudi Arabia. But two clubs on the player, the week of truth. Why? Because this week is also the week where they will meet with the agent, and Comodi will be extremely clear, and he will repeat what we already know. Dusan Vlahovic is out of project. We don't count on him. It would be better for everyone if Dusan is able to find a team as soon as possible, even before the 24th of July, when we start again the Ritiro, the new season. Tuttosport is actually already forgetting about Sancho. They're already going in another name, another role. Juve Ndidi, l'occasione, the opportunity, Ndidi. You know it, the player from Leicester, another opportunity, and this one calls Ndidi. That's the name. That's what they are writing in the chat. A few seasons ago, he has a word value of 60 million euro. Well, now this time things have changed because Leicester went in second division, a new clause has been activated of 9 million sterling, which means more or less, if you convert it, 10.5 million euro. So extremely cheap player, Ndidi, defensive midfielder. We already told you that Juventus they want to get rid of Douglas Luiz, that is not part of the club anymore, and they want to go towards a defensive midfielder, a shield, someone that can really protect the other midfielders, the offensive power of Juve made of, I don't know, Colomwani, Osimhen, David, Kenan Yildiz, Conceição, Sancho, I don't know, you can call all the names that you want. They really wanted shield there to actually not split the team. And if we were speaking last week about the Yulmand and then also the name of Bissouma, the new name is Ndidi. Then I compared the three players. What do we see? That if Yulmand and Bissouma are more or less the same type of player, not the same level, but the same type of players, if you're looking at the duel percentage, the possession won, the ball that they are carrying, also the forward passes, etc., you see it with all these different stats that I also posted in our Telegram group. So if you want the detail, go and watch it there. Super easy to find it. It's GJustjuve on Telegram. But Ndidi is a different player. The characteristics, the skills are different than the two other ones. So what I am afraid of is that Comoli this time, looking at Ndidi, is looking more at the cheap opportunity of paying only 10 million euro than actually going for what we were initially looking for. So pay attention for the name of Ndidi, also Nigerian player playing with the Nigerian national team. I don't want players that in the month of December, January, are leaving and they are playing the AFCON and not being available for us. So it's a different type of player. Again, a defensive midfielder. Super great, fantastic in terms of possession won, because he has a 95.6% possession won. So great, fantastic. But I don't want that you're just changing because we are looking at opportunities. But of course, we need to make space also in our midfield. And then the first name that could potentially leave in the midfield is Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz that has still offers because he's a qualitative player. Because we all know the season that he did in Premier League, the seasons that he did. He flopped at Juve. Environment, he couldn't find the right fit. The culture, maybe too different for him. He didn't really understood it. Okay, we know it. After a few months, the journey of Douglas Luiz, because of that injury, because of personal problems, already ended. But he has still mercato. And Juventus, they don't want to waste too much time. Fulham, Everton, and Manchester United are on the player. He could go there without losing too much value. So Juve is already thinking, if we can cash in without losing, without doing a minus Valenza, let's go there. Fulham is already thinking about the player, but they would love to see an opportunity that could be a loan with the option, with an obligation to buy. I hope that if we stop with Douglas Luiz, you know that I like the player in terms of skills, but if we are obliged to stop with the player, that we don't start with loan. Please, no Arthur Bis. Please, no Piazza Bis, because that's a hell of a thing. We need to fix things immediately. You want the player, buy the player. Let's not start with loans. But Fulham is also interested in another player from Juve, in this Bangula. Not only Fulham, but also Wolfsburg, Bologna in Serie A, Monaco, Bournemouth, and Stuttgart. So the Belgian player has a lot of offers. And on that one, Juve is really confident that the player could leave and we can cash in, making a lot of profit. Like, for example, Wea, that is in close talks with Marseille. I repeat, not in a swap deal with Balerdi, but that could be a great opportunity. Speaking about defenders, Hansko is free. He received from Feyenoord the green light that he could leave for 30 million euro. 30 million euro that at the moment Juventus is not taking into account, way too much. So they will see what they can do. Yes, Balerdi trying, but Balerdi cost even more. There is a Laporte name, which I received news that Juventus is not on Laporte, so we will need to monitor also that. Let's see for the defense, but looks like for Juve, they have a clear plan up front, and it's already leaked and it's already communicated. They already have some names for the midfield. For the defense, looks like they want to take a bit of time to really understand the situation, who can leave, who can enter, and how many money do we have to invest there. One player that will leave, and we started with the strikers, we went to the midfielder, the defenders, and now we go to the goalkeeper. It is Daffara that really soon could go officially to Avellino. I remember it's really funny because I went to Avellino to watch Avellino Juventus Next Gen. He was in the goal there playing for Juve Next Gen, and actually that's the stadium that he could actually be there on loan in Serie B the entire next season. If you enjoyed the video, please put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza, Juve.